Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I am Elaine. Today I'm going to do a flip through and like a mid-year update on my reading journal for 2019. And you can see here, I had to put some tape on it. I kept ripping my cover. So we got some washi tape on it. So what I'll do is I'll just flip the camera around and we'll do a flip through look at it and talk you through what I have been doing with my journal. Okay, so to begin with, this is the cover, which I made just using, it's just a normal A4 refill pad, and I made the cover kind of decoupage with patterned tissue paper, and I keep tearing it because the paper is like, it's really delicate kind of paper, and I keep ripping it, so I have some washi tape on it. Kind of looks a bit stupid like that, but it's fine. We just open it up here and straight away we just have this. I thought this paper was like the inside of old books. You know, when you open an old book, it has that funny pattern, oil painty or watercolor paint, inky kind of pattern inside it. So this really reminded me of that, and the paper is nice and thick and textured. Can you hear that? It's kind of got this canvasy kind of a texture on it, so I love that for the first page. And then when we open up the next page, I have these envelopes with this card inside where I have my favorite books per month for each month. So I have 3 months and 3 books in each envelope. And then in the center, I have a spot for my favorite book of the year. So that won't be filled in until the end of the year. And I have this way, it's like, the next page is when the list of books starts. What I done was I have 2 pages of columns with information per book, which is a lot, and for next year I am not going to have so many because it's kind of annoying filling in a line this way and then all of this for one book. So far this year I've like filled this, and I am halfway, or well, I'm a little bit past halfway actually, on my next set, and I made enough for about 120 books, because my goal for this year is 80, but last year I read 115 I think it was, so I wanted to just give myself enough space to read over the goal. The columns are book, series, author, genre, tags and themes, and these are different because with themes I tend to use it mostly for romance books, so things like there's a love triangle or it's enemies to lovers or something like that, and tags are just maybe extra things I think about with the genre. And then the format of the book and how many pages or hours it was, my rating, the dates that I read it, whether I own it or got it from the library or Scribd or wherever, if I have written the review, if it was a reread, if I read it for a book club or a group on Goodreads, or if I read it for a reading challenge, and then what page you can find it in this reading journal. So that's why that's organized. And for next year's one, this will be shortened to a single page because it's just too much like this. And even the way I had to, just because the title was so long, but the actual filling in is really small, and that's kind of annoyed me that I needed this huge space for such a tiny bit of information. So after all of this, at the end of these, I have a little chart for my genres. So I just to compare like what I read the most. So I have urban fantasy, paranormal romance, historical romance, contemporary, horror, fantasy, sci-fi and steampunk, cozy mystery and literary. And like I put in sci-fi and steampunk because I thought I had read like a good few of those, but I've actually not read any really. Wait, I did read one. I haven't filled it in. But anyway, so you can see here I tend to read more fantasy, which I thought urban fantasy would be higher. I'm classing those as two different things. And also paranormal romance is different as well. Contemporary. So yeah, they'll have to be updated soon. I haven't updated in a little while. And then straight after that, I have this pattern paper. I've been using these kind of like to section off the book or the journal. I think of them kind of as book covers, and then the next section is like another book of information. So after that, we have the Romanceopoly board that I made at the beginning of the year. And they have ones that you could print and stuff like that, but I don't have a printer and I didn't feel like I could go to the library and print it, no problem. But I felt like making one. And actually making this board is the main reason that I ended up making a reading journal this year. So thank you, Romanceopoly. I really like my reading journal. For the board, I have this little woman thing. She was part of some pattern paper and a paper clip. And she just marks my spot on the board. After that, I have all of the challenges written out. So I have the names of the squares and then the task that is assigned to each of those. So there's a page of that. And then I have just some of the rules that I need to remember for Romanceopoly just there as well, just underneath. And I have each one that I have done just ticked off next to it. And on the board, I've just marked in this little tab thing on them in black to say that I have completed that spot. And then we have my tracking for Romanceopoly. So I have the date and role and the space and then the book I read first. And I was falling really behind in Romanceopoly. So I decided to just do all of my roles so I would always know what I'm going to read for it, because I kept forgetting about it. Like I'd do a role and I'd get a space and I wouldn't read a book for it for ages because I just wouldn't feel like it at the time. So what I done this month was do all of my roles and then I could read more than one book at a time to suit it. So I was reading Truth or Beard and The Taken at the same time because one of them I was reading in print and the other one I was listening to an audiobook. So I done both of them at the same time. I'm just trying to get through the board because I was falling really behind and I'm not even halfway through it yet and we're halfway through the year, so I need to catch up. And then after my tracking for that, I have my reading goal tracker for the year. So I done it like one of my things of paper had all these little frames on it, so I decided to make it up like a wall, like a gallery wall. So it's like, I thought this it looks a bit like a textured wall or like vintagey wall paint. And then I have all these frames up on it with my, I'm going 4 books per frame until we get to my goal at the end, which is 80. So at the moment I am at 48. And after this we have another bar chart comparing my formats. So we have print, ebook and audiobook. And I have so many audiobooks because it's just so easy to listen to audiobooks. I get through them so much quicker than print or ebook. But those combined would equal more obviously than the audiobook, but audiobook is just so quick to read. And I'm slowest with print because I can't read them at nighttime because I have to turn off the light. So ebooks surpasses that because they're backlit. And then we have the next section. I love this paper. I love this framed paper. This is all textured all along here, this print. It's kind of embossed and has a glittery kind of texture on it, but I love it. It's one of my favorite pages. Next we have my TBRs for each month, and at the beginning we have another chart comparing what I read from my TBRs and what I left unread. So let's zoom in here so you can see this a bit better. So the way I have this done is the purple is what was on my TBR and the dashes are what I actually read, and then the little stroke downs are what was on the TBR that I read. So it's just a comparison between how well I stick to my TBRs. Like in May, it looks like I really stuck to my TBR, but I actually, like, I read the same amount of books that I had on my TBR, but only 2 of them were actually books from that list. So I'm not so good at sticking to my TBRs, but I love making them for whatever reason. And so each month is made up like this watercolor kind of style with a space to fill in the books. And for this, what I was going for was this similar kind of style to what's in the Brian Froud fairy books. So they have this splashy, messy watercolor look to them, and that's what I was going for with these. It's super messy looking. I definitely achieved that part of it. And at the end of the TBRs, we have another book cover, and this is for my wrap-ups. So again, it starts with another chart, and this chart then is my monthly reading totals. So this is how many books I read each month. And with this thing, these sheets of paper, they have like the 2 boxes, and I take each line as being 1 book. So yeah, you can see I was averaging like 5 or 6 books, and then in May I like jumped by quite a bit. Yeah, I read a lot in May, and June is actually going to be close enough to May as well, because I've been trying really hard to catch up on my reading. And then my wrap-ups were planned a similar kind of way to the TBRs. Oh, that's just that's me doing some maths. So, but I took out a page and kind of crumpled it up and added this ink to it to make it look like old paper, or like what you call it, papyrus or something like that. Some old paper that would have my my wrap up written on it. So each one is just done up like that. There's May and June so far. So then at the end of my wrap-ups then we have the largest section of the book, and these stickers I actually got in a Books and Charms box. What month was it? I think it was February's box, maybe it was March. I'll add a link to it up at the top there. I think it goes on that side, and you can see what else came in the box with these guys. So they're really nice stickers. I think they'd be better a different color for this though. I might paint them with some watercolor. Paint them brown just to make them go with this. So this is the largest section of the book, and this has just the books basically. So it has 2 books per page with a review and some notes, and each one is different. Like this book, I didn't write a review for it, but I did make a note about it, and this one got a review and some notes, and they could be anything. Like the review is like whatever, my thoughts on it. The notes could be something else that I wanted to make a note of, whatever information I wanted to jot down about the books, however I felt about it and stuff like that. You see some of them, I didn't write much at all. I just wrote yum for that book. So I liked that one. It was a reread. Yeah, so that's what that section is. And I have done up enough of these for 120 books. So I'm not expecting to fill that, but I just wanted the space. So at the end of that then is this. This is the final section, and it is just for me to do further kind of study on a book. Would be very, very rare that I would want to do this on a book. So it starts with, I have this envelope on the cover, and inside it I have these little cards, and these are just like little information cards about the books that will be in this section. So it's like a quick, I kind of think of them as like a book info card or like a pull card or something like that about a book. So it'll have like the title and the author and stuff like that, and then the page that it is on, all the information you can find about that book in the journal. So that's what's there, and they have some pretty backs on them. And that is what is inside here. And after that page is the study of the book, whatever it may be. And I've just started off doing it with the English Patient, and I will be doing it with the Bloody Chamber. And those are the only two I want to do it with at the moment, but we have 6 months left, so there could be another book in here. And that's what the last of this book will be used up doing. The rest of the pages are left blank because I could take up any amount of space to do the further study on whatever the book is. The back then just has this page on it, just because I thought it was pretty. And that's the end. That is the whole journal. I have to change this because it really annoys me. My favorite part is probably my reading goal spot. I just love those little frames, and I love this paper. So that's probably my favorite part, but I also love this part. I love opening it like that. Woo! Or it's like a pop-up book. I just love doing that. And I'm excited to fill in what my book of the year will be on that little page. So yeah, and I have already started on my 2019 journal, or sorry, my 2020 journal, which I will show you really quickly. So I decided to go with a much smaller journal for next year. I like the A4 one, but this one is nice and compact, and I can bring it in my bag if I want to. So it's a really old journal that I had just kind of lying around, and it had, I don't even remember what was in it, just random notes. So I took out what was in it before, and I actually found a note from my husband in the back of it from 2012. So I have this journal a long time, and I decided it would be good to use it for my reading journal in 2020. So with this one, I am just starting out my ideas for it. So we have the first page, that, and then we have the much shorter spreadsheet for the book at the beginning, and I added in a row of numbers to say what number book it is, and it still has the page at the end. So in this time I just have title, series, author, format, pages, ownership, and then the page that it can be found in this book. And I made enough pages for 115 books. And after that we have my reading goal, which I decided to do the same way as this year's one with the frames on the wall, but I have the frames are a bit more decorative in this one, and it's for the same amount again, 80. And after that we have the section for my TBRs, which will be basically the same. I have the space for the chart, and then after that would be the wrap-ups, and again the space for the chart. And at the end of them I just have this title page put in, but I haven't decided what's going to go in there yet. It will probably be where I write the reviews and stuff. The books will probably be in there. It will probably end up filling the book, and then I will be adding in other stuff later, like closer to 2020, near the end of this year. I'll be adding in more based on how I use this one. I love making this so much. It's actually so much fun to do up the journal, because it's kind of like scrapbooking, and I just love it. It's so much fun. And I will be adding in whatever my main annual challenge for 2020 is. I have an idea of what I want to do for 2020, so I'll probably add in a few more reading challenges into this one. I have more paper and stuff to put into this, and I have these pretty envelopes, some nice paper that I will probably use in it at some point. I just haven't decided yet what I am going to do, but I love to have envelopes and stuff like that with things inside them in the journal. I think it just makes it more interactive and fun. So that is my reading journal so far this year. I love it. I'm so happy with it. A little annoyed at this washi tape, which I will fix up. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I'll fix it up somehow. And I love updating it. I love adding to it. It's just so much fun. I really enjoy it. I love having all these funny papers and stuff in it. All of these things. I love all these things. And I would love to get more types of washi tape and more stickers and stuff like that to add to it. Any ideas that you might have of things that I could add to my journal, I would love it. Let me know as well if you do a reading journal, if you do bullet journal, or if you have a reading tracker of some other form. I also have the Excel reading tracker thing from Portal in the Pages, which I love as well. And at the end of the year I'll be adding the graphs and stuff from that to this book, as well as the reading stats from Goodreads. They will all go in here at the end of the year. Thank you so much for watching this video, and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're not already and you want to, and I'll see you in the next video.